Hi, I'm Wyatt Cash with Scoop News Group, and we're excited to be here today talking to Sam Kapreilian, Principal for Government and Public Services with Deloitte, to talk about digital transformation. Sam, thank you so much for being with us today.
Thanks, Wyatt. Glad to be here.
So the last 2 years, federal agencies have substantially accelerated their digital transformation strategies to meet, obviously, an increased demand in online and mobile services for both employees and the public. I'm curious to start, Sam, by asking, digital transformation really encompasses many things. When it comes down to it, though, what are some of the most important items that it encapsulates from your point of view?
Well, for us at Deloitte, we think about digital transformation in a couple of different ways. One of them is becoming much more customer oriented and being much more relevant with our interactions and poignant with the ability to communicate with our customers. And the second piece we would talk about is around modernization of systems, modernizing and migrating to the cloud, modernizing to better user interfaces, thinking about how to be more responsive and more timely with our ability to deliver for our customers. Those are the kinds of things we talk about when we're thinking about digital transformation and helping our clients in government become more modern.
Well, I think you'd agree it's safe to say that, government agencies have been trying to catch up a bit with the way many private organizations currently interact with the public. What do you see are some of the ways that government agencies can kind of close their gaps to interact digitally with citizens more effectively?
Yeah, great question. A big part of it is just thinking about how to be more responsive and more relevant. And you've got to do that with a combination of bringing together and harvesting the right data and being able to serve it up at the appropriate time through the right channel. So in some cases, it might be through the agency's contact center. In other cases, it might be through the website or through social media. But being able to deliver that relevant content at that point of entry, at that moment of truth, if you will, is critical when you think about how agencies want to interact in a more digital fashion. The reality of it is that our customers and our citizens nowadays have such higher expectations than they ever did before with some of the online leaders that have become household names. They expect that from government just as much. And those are pretty high bars that most agencies are not yet ready to be able to achieve.
And I think you might also agree that, federal agencies have this challenge of trying to modernize, but also keep their legacy systems up and running. How can federal agencies balance that modernization effort more effectively?
Yeah, great question. So one of the things that we think about at Deloitte, we call it operate to innovate. You've got to have a very stable and optimized ability to run the current set of operations, but then thinking about how you can continue to innovate. How do you bring in RPA, robotics process automation? How do you bring in cloud? How do you bring in cybersecurity and key capabilities to ensure that you don't have vulnerabilities? These are the kinds of things we try to look at, but you've got to first have that stability in your operations. Operate to innovate is the way we think about it.
I like how you phrase that. And then lastly, Sam, how can leaders begin to address some of the other critical challenges they face, like funding and in particular, the ability to gain and acquire talent? Yeah,
those are two complex and different kinds of questions. So funding is often a challenge, especially with all the pressures of COVID-19 and budgetary constraints. Most agencies, both federal and state, are really struggling to maintain their current set of legacy systems, which often drive 60 to 80% of their overall budget is just keeping the lights on. And so then trying to think about how you can make investments and have additional funding so that you can modernize is often a challenge. What we like to look at where are some of the opportunities for automation, for process transformation and simplification, and for elimination of repetitive or or low value added tasks. How do we eliminate those, driving more to self-service, driving more to RPA, or using bots, for example?
And then talk a little bit more about the talent challenge.
Yeah, the talent challenge is one that all agencies are really struggling to fill. There's a battle for talent out there, whether it's in the cloud, artificial intelligence, Java and development skills, cybersecurity. There's a real battle with commercial organizations that have the brand recognition and in most cases have higher compensation with potential stock and other growth opportunities. So it's a real challenge for government. That's one area where organizations like Deloitte believe that we can really help. We've got the scale, we've got the capabilities, we have the tools, the methods, the assets, and we can complement voids that government organizations may be facing and certainly help fill the challenges that they face in serving up the talent that they require, especially with this overwhelmingly demanding citizen set of needs and expectations.
Well, terrific. Well, Sam Kapreilian, thank you so much for joining us today and talking about some of the steps agencies can take to accelerate their efforts towards digital transformation.
Great. Thanks so much for having us.